Yo, this your boy Lamb at Real Lambo. You're listening to YouKnowIGotSoul.com.
Well, I know you've been doing a lot of work with Missy Elliott, so how did you originally link up with her?
Um, it's a crazy thing how things come full circle. Brianna, who young artist, local artist from Miami named Brianna. Her name was Lil Brianna at the time. I met her when she was 9, like in '01, and Brianna and I worked together. I was just doing a whole bunch of songs for her, and I knew her because her mom and I grew up together. But Brianna and I were working on a whole bunch of songs. At the time, Brianna was signed to Trina, and then her mom took over to Missy, and then Missy, I played a song. I'm sorry, they played a song for Missy. I was still playing football, actually, playing pro ball. They played a song for her that I was on the hook, but I felt like it'll be a cool hook to have a Missy Elliott on. Kiki is Brianna's mom. Kiki gave Missy's hype man, CO, the song to give to Missy. He gives the song to Missy. Missy happens to be in the studio with Timbaland, and all of a sudden they just love the song, so they give everybody a call. They give Brianna's mom a call and tell them to come to the studio. And by the time that Brianna got there, Missy and Timbaland knew all of the words to the song. They loved it. They heard it like 20 times back to back to back. And from that point on, Missy signed her. So I was doing, I actually thought that, okay, they were going to just, Missy was going to do the songwriting, and Timbaland was going to just handle the beats. And, little me, playing football, I just thought it was just like, okay, that's it. Cool. That's it. They got it from here, and I felt like, okay, maybe maybe I sparked something to help them sign this young lady, this young girl, and, that's what it was all about anyway, is trying to help her out, help her career from the very beginning. And until I played football, and I was trying to get back to an NFL situation, playing arena ball. So I felt comfortable and happy about Brianna getting her shot. And when she got her shot, when she was at that same session, they asked who did the music, and Kiki told them that, it's a young guy named Lamb. He plays football. He's our friend. I know him growing up. He's family to us, So, he did all our songs. And Missy was like, tell him to keep doing them. Shoot, tell him to keep doing them. I like the way his style, But she was calling me dude for a whole year. She was like, tell dude to keep doing them. Keep doing songs. And, I like the style. So at that time, I just kept doing songs, knowing that Missy would hear the songs, and Timbaland even would hear the songs at times because they were working on an album together. So when I send songs, they'd be in there listening to the songs that Brianna and I did. And I wasn't working in a big studio. I was just working in, pretty much the closet over here, over at the house. And, that's how I got from Missy that's how Missy got a chance to hear my music. After that year, it's a crazy story because there's a song, the second song I ever did for Brianna is a Cyndi Lauper remake song, Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yep.
I did that song for Brianna, and everybody loved it. So later on, when a couple of years, later from doing that song, Cameron, the rapper from Dipset, Cameron did the same remake. And it's a sample, so it's fair game. Whoever comes out with the sample first, that's how the game works with samples and stuff like that, using old music. So he came out with the sample, and it was a single. And I don't know if the song did that well, but they still called me and they thought I did it. They thought I did the song. And I told them, no, that wasn't my song. I didn't do anything. I didn't have anything to do with it. And then they figured I did it because at the time Dipset had signed an artist that I was working with. And they figured that artist heard the music and heard Brianna's music and took the idea up there for them to use. And that wasn't the case. So Brianna ended up, Brianna's mom ended up calling them, telling them, let's hurry up before he takes the Brianna songs and give him someone else. Let's put Brianna's stuff out, Brianna's 10 years, 11 years old at the time, and it's like, I don't know if she's ready to come out yet at the time, but I think that's what sparked Missy to be like, okay, you know what? Maybe he can take these songs and give them away. And he's talented, he can take these same songs that we're trying to use for Brianna, and he can take them and give them to someone else. So I think she was like, okay, let me. She told Kiki, Brianna's mom, tell dude to send me some beats, and I'll put my name on them, and we'll see. We'll see how it works out. I sent her some beats, and I took her 25 beats. Make a long story short, and my first placement was on that beat CD. It was 25 beats on that beat CD. My first placement was on that CD. Missy, they invited me down to Miami, and I had to leave from playing football to go down and have a meeting with Missy to see, I guess just to see how everything was going to work out with Brianna stuff and work out with, I guess, the songs that she had written off of my beats. And, she played me the song, and she played me the song when I got down to Miami, and I loved it. I was like, wow, who's that for? She said, a girl named Fantasia. She just won the American Idol. And, that's going to be on her album. And, this is one of the songs that I did for her. So I was like, wow.
Yep.
So, that was my first placement.
Yep.
And that was the first day I heard my first placement. Is the first day I actually physically met Missy Elliott.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I heard the song, but it's crazy because the person who was on the demo was a 16-year-old by the name of Jasmine Sullivan.
Yep.
She demoed the actual song for Fantasia to hear it, to say she liked it, and cut the song. So everything goes full circle. It's crazy because then me and Missy and I worked on Jasmine Sullivan's first single entitled "Need You Bad."
Yep.
In '08. So
yeah.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal how everything worked out. Brianna, the little girl, Brianna, the artist, now she's a brand new signee at Atlantic Records.
Yep.
She just got her deal a couple months ago now, and she's 19 now.
Yep.
And I'm still working with her. I did her first single song called Marilyn Monroe, and it's picking up. It's a big buzz on the song and her whole campaign. She just put out a mixtape called Face Off, and everybody's on. Have a lot of features on there and stuff like that. So I'm still working with her, but I work with Missy a whole bunch, and we have great chemistry together.
Yeah. Kind of talk about, the creative process between yourself and Missy. Like, how does a song become a song?
Oh, well, Missy's a great visionary. She hears the song before the song is complete. She pulls from. Uh, she has a what everybody like to say is an old spirit or old soul. They actually say old soul. She has an old soul, and she'll pull from what came before the times that the way people feel when records were made back in the day. She'd pull from that energy, and she'd come up with ideas of where we should go on songs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I come up with ideas of where we should go, you know. There's there's different scenarios for each song, of course.
Yep.
Because the approach is depending upon the artist of who you're working with, you know. As Jasmine Sullivan, you know that you have to have something that feels. She has a tone of a Lauryn Hill. Jasmine Sullivan does. Her tone is as of a Lauryn Hill. So you have to give her that feeling that everybody felt when they heard Lauryn Hill.
Yeah.
So that's one thing by itself. Then you have a Monica. Everybody knows that Monica has a beautiful voice. She's had it since she was younger. So what you have to do is make the people feel like they felt back in the day. They make them feel like how they felt about Monica back in the day. And speaking of Jasmine, you know, her first single, "Need You Bad," with the reggae feeling track that we did. You know, that song to me is pulling from the song "X Factor" by Lauryn Hill.
Okay.
And you know, with the reggae feeling the verses in the song are a reggae feeling, and then the hook, it changes to R&B. It's like that kind of feeling. That's where we pulled from in a sense. That's where the energy of that song came from.
Yeah.
You know? And the reason why the song went number one, thank God, is probably because of that feeling of nostalgia. Like, everybody felt like, whoa, what is this? Is this Lauryn Hill again? Or is it, you know, is that feeling again? And then they find out it's a new girl, then they fall in love with the new girl, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how you approach creating a song. What I want to hear as a consumer, even though I'm going to go and produce and write this song, but what do I want to hear as a consumer coming from this artist, this particular artist, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, on a Keyshia Cole, she gives you that Mary feeling with her pain and her passion and her vocal. So, okay, Mary did a lot of stuff like "Real Love" for Mary was a big record for someone, a young girl who's passionate about love, you know?
Yeah.
So when we did the song "Let It Go" for Keyshia Cole, it was that energy almost. It was a feeling of nostalgia when you listen to "Let It Go" and you hear those Biggie drums, like Biggie sample. Well, it's not really Biggie, but, you know, M2 May sample, you know, and you hear that come on, it's like, oh man, this feels like the 90s all over again, you know,
yeah.
when the song comes on, you know?
Yeah.
So you got a great chemistry when Missy and I put our minds together and we think of these ideas of where we would want to hear artists. Missy is like a sister to me, because of the fact that it's like she'd be thinking she'll be on one side of the room and I'll be on the other, and she'd hear something, and we'd be thinking the same exact thing, but we won't talk about it until later on, and then once she brings it up, I'd already give her the answer of what she's getting ready to say next. That happened thousands of times. It seemed like hundreds of times that happened with her and I. It's that kind of chemistry where it's like we think alike on a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
You know, she's been in the game obviously for a long time, so she has way more experience than I have. But you know, when we get together, it's almost as if, you know, I had to get up on my game to catch up with her. And, I'm learning a whole bunch now that I've, had a little bit, got my feet wet a little bit, and I'm learning how to create a hit and learning how to, develop songs for new artists and old artists as well,
Yeah.
But the chemistry is outstanding, man. So most of the time, I cut the vocals on the artist. Missy, she don't particularly love to cut vocals on artists anymore.
Okay.
Back in the day, she worked with Beyoncé's and all Destiny's Child and all of those big acts back in the day. She don't necessarily have the patience to cut vocals anymore. So I'm literally there at the computer recording these artists, myself now. Like I'll sit there with Monica and, get her to push out a note that she's not used to pushing out, on everything to me. She had to reach higher than she ever heard. I had to reach on every song, everything to me that went number one. Sometimes it works different ways, and then sometimes the artist wouldn't want to do something, wouldn't want to push out a note or something, or do something that's going to take the song to the next level. And then sometimes Missy will come around and come in the room, and then that artist see Missy and Missy tell the artist, like, come on now, that we got to do it. We trying to make this a big record.
Yep.
And then the artist all of a sudden just push the note out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
It works in a great way where I'm more of the music side of the thing. Even though I write lyrics as well as I produce, like the SWV song. I wanted everybody to feel like you know what, this is the SWV I know.
Yeah.
I wanted people to feel like that because I want to feel like that. If I didn't know, I didn't have the connect to get on a SWV project, last year or whatever, at the end of the year, if I wouldn't have had that connect, I would have wanted to hear SWV come out exactly how that song came out with cosign.
Yeah.
So that's how I approached it when I wrote it and produced it. I approached it like I want that real I want that real R&B. I want that SWV. I want them to sound like they're 17, 16 years old again. Like I want to get that feeling. Like, who are these new girls?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I approached that song when I went in for that. But it's a great thing to be able to get. Well, let me tell you, like this. I call it a genius. I would say it's a great thing it's a genius to be able to take what you thought about in your mind, a song that you thought about in your mind, or how the way you wanted that song to particularly come out, and be able to make that thing happen, make the song happen exactly how you thought of it. I think it takes complete genius to be able to do that and pull that off.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I go in my mind and I hear the song, I hear the words, I hear the beats, I hear everything before I even start hitting the beat machine or hitting a keyboard or even coming up with lyrics.
Yeah.
I hear the song in my head, and then I think it takes a certain level of genius to be able to get that song out of your mind onto some kind of data or some kind of CD, and then the world hears it and they like it too. So
Yeah.
I just think it's a great bit of that, I would say,
Yeah. You were mentioning SWV, and we know that you're working on their album right now. What can you kind of tell us about the approach that you have with that album?
Well, I think it's the same thing. Like on Cosign, they're gonna hear a lot of people gonna hear a lot of the same. SWV they have rich harmonies. They have, Coco is a great lead. The music that you used to hearing when you heard Weak and when you heard, You're the Ones for Me and Anything and all of these big records that they came out with a while ago. I'm not going to try to deviate from that. I'm just going to give them a new age SWV from all those. I'm going to pull from all those songs, you know.
Yeah.
I understand that, you know, this is what I would want to hear as a consumer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to try to deviate and try to fight against that. I used to try to fight against what people want, but don't fight against. I approached it like, okay, look, you know, don't fight against don't fight against what's hot for that artist.
Yeah.
SWV, they're a big act. They've been in the game for a long time. They took a long break. So when you hear them, the next time you hear them, you're gonna feel like, wow, they never missed a beat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
That's very important to me as a producer to be able to bring that feeling out of the people, so they can feel like, I gotta go get SWV's album because it's crazy. You know, I want them to feel like, no, I love this song, song after song after song. It feels like, you know, greatness, you know, and they're a legendary group, and I am honored to even, you know, be able to work with them.
Yeah.
And I have another little short story about SWV also. You know, they, you know, I was in the 9th grade playing football, and we had a pep rally, and our band struck up the songs. They played the song Weak. And when that band, it's like, I almost felt like I didn't want to play football. I wanted to go be in the band when they played Weak. And it just sounded so amazing in the gym. And we had a big game that night coming up. I just never forget that feeling of when I heard Weak and the band playing Weak. Those little elements, those things in my life, those little pieces of my life, I carry those same pieces today when I go down and sit down to create another song.
Yeah.
So I have to pay homage and go, not even paying homage, I feel honored to be producing and writing for a legendary group as SWV. There's females that sing now, and they're solo artists or vocalists right now that toured a lot of their runs from Coco and pulled a lot of their harmonies from SWV. So I feel the same way. I feel like I pulled a lot of the music that I do right now from the music that they did back in the day. So you can call it paying homage, you can call it whatever you want to call it. I just feel like they deserve to have a great album. They deserve to be mentioned when people mention great vocalists, great acts. When people mention legendary acts and legendary artists, they deserve to be up there with that. So it's my job to try to pull that out so people can look at them in that same respect when they were out in the 90s.
Yeah. And, you know, another artist I know you've been working with, you know, you had the big single, Everything to Me, from her last album. And, you know, you've also had the first 2 singles from her upcoming project. You know, what kind of approach are you going to take with this album? I'm speaking about Monica. You know, what kind of approach are you going to take with this album, you know, to continue the success from her last one?
Yeah, Monica should be down here in a few days to finish off her album. You know, it's the same thing with Monica. You know, people know what they love from Monica. They know the type of feeling that they get from her when they heard, you know, a whole bunch of her hits from back in the day.
Yep.
You know, you have to. Yeah, I just feel like I'm approaching it in that same way I approached all the other projects. I'm not going to fight against the battle of trying to impress what's going on the radio right now. You know, I learned from Missy that if you want your records to stick out like a sore thumb when it hits the radio,
yep,
don't listen to the radio.
Okay.
Listening to the radio, if you listen to the radio, sometimes you're getting influenced by what everybody else is doing, and you tend to cater to that need of whatever the radio is playing.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, you know, if you do a record, or if a record comes out on the radio right now, and you try to mimic whatever that song is,
Yep.
songs don't usually come out. Your song probably won't come out until 6 months to a year later sometimes.
Yeah.
So you mimic something of right now,
Mhm.
but the song won't come out until 6 months from now if you happen to get a placement doing that same beat. So what happens is you end up sounding old.
Yeah.
You know, and not old as far as nostalgic, like what I'm talking about. I'm just you end up sounding just like somebody else that just came out with a record.
Yeah.
You know, when you supposed, and when originality is what usually pushes a song to number one.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I try not to listen to the radio. I learned that from Missy, and only if someone calls me and tells me my song was on the radio. Sometimes I go and click on it to listen, just, But, as producers and writers, man, we work on these songs and we listen to the song 100 times before it actually hits the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And by that time, you're not tired of it, but you're tired of it. It's like, okay, I've worked on several songs since then,
Yeah.
So it's like, why am I still listening to this song? When I'm trying to move on to the next project, move on to the next feeling, Like we hear these songs hundreds of times, just fine-tuning it, mixing it, rough mixing it, adding stuff. It's quite a bit of a task to put these records together, so you hear it 100 times. So by the time it hits the radio, it's like, okay, so I've heard it 100 times, so I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's for the people now. The people get a chance to hear it for the first time, and they love it. I feel good about that. But my joy as a producer and writer, my joy comes from being able to create another song.
Yeah.
The creative process of creating the next song is my joy as a producer and writer.
Yeah. Okay. Are you and Missy going to be doing the majority of Monica's upcoming album?
Well, Polo is executive producing it, so Polo's going to have a whole bunch of records on there too.
Okay.
So we, Missy and I, we did, Until It's Gone and Anything to Find You.
Yeah.
I'm not, I can't speak for what Missy's going to do, as my partner, but, hopefully I get a chance to get a couple more on there, and we'll go from there.
Okay. One of your biggest songs to date is Let It Go by Keyshia Cole. Talk to me about the creation of that song.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, that Let It Go pretty much came up with feeling like, okay, here we are, this young girl, she has her hair colored, a certain way, like how Mary did her thing back in the day, and she had the blonde hair and all that.
Yep.
It's like everybody always has love for the girl next door.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave us that feeling,
Yeah.
So when we were at the studio. What's the studio? It's the studio that Tupac got shot 5 times at in New York.
Okay.
We were at that studio.
Okay.
And that turned out to be the first time, my first single that I ever, produced. So,
yeah.
But let me tell you what happened. My MPC, my beat machine was not working. It was not working for some reason. Or I don't know if it was the MPC CDs that they were bringing out for me to use.
Yeah.
Or was it my zip disk with my sounds on them? But it was not working for some reason. So they brought out 3 different MPCs, and none of it worked. But I had a couple sounds on the one that was working. So I just started with the beat. Started with the beat first, and once I found the beat, I was like, okay, cool, that's a cool beat. and then I added keys to the beat, and that's the keys that you hear throughout the whole song. The boom, 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 the boom, the boom, boom, boom. Those keys,
Yeah.
you hear those throughout the whole song. That's what I added, and then Missy thought it'd be nice if you add the M2 May beat up under the beat that I did.
Yeah.
So she grabbed the sample of the beat and threw it up under there, and it sounded good. And that's all we had at first. Fantasia had an opportunity to have that same song. She actually cut that song, but I don't know what happened that year. They didn't keep the song for whatever reason.
Okay.
And Keyshia Cole was like, I love it. So she actually wrote, on the song, and it turned out to be a smash record, man.
Yeah.
But that song, that was my first number one, actually first single that I ever produced, and it turned out to be a number one record. So I was very happy when that happened,
Yeah. You were mentioning earlier that, you don't really listen to too much of the radio. Are you ever concerned that your sound, might not work on the radio because a lot of the stuff out right now is dance-driven?
Yeah, well, I never concerned myself with dance or whatever the case may be. Like, I did a song for Beyoncé, a song called Countdown.
Yep.
That song pretty much came about by me just doing what I do every day in the studio. I wasn't trying to get on Beyonce's album. I wasn't trying to work on a song for her. I just did a song.
Yep.
And the song, or whatever, the idea, it got to her.
Yep.
In detail of how I got there, my publisher, Big John Platt, over at EMI, John Platt, pretty much, he heard the music and he was like, whoa, what is this? So he played it for Beyonce that same day. I was flying out to LA for, I think, the BET Awards or something like ASCAP Awards or something like that at the time. And he was like, he called me when I got off the plane. I saw a whole bunch of missed calls from him. So I was like, what's up, man? He was like, hey, man, that track that you sent me, ooh. Now, I don't always send my publisher music, not like I used to, but I don't always send it to him, But I just sent that randomly.
Yeah.
That was like one time. That was one track that I sent that whole year to him.
Yeah.
And he was like, that track that you sent me, man, wow. I said, when I first heard it, I was like, what is this? This is the most unique thing that I've heard in a while.
Yeah.
And then he told me what Beyonce did once she heard it. He told me that Beyonce started bouncing up and down, dancing when the beat came on, when the countdown part came on, like the 10, 9, the Boys the Men sample.
Yeah.
She started bouncing up and down, dancing and moving all kind of ways. When she heard it, he said, man, that song may be a smash. And I was like, wow, are you serious? He was like, yeah, man, yeah. You don't know what you just did. I was like, wow, I don't know what I just did. Yep. She said she want to cut the song in 3 days, as a matter of fact. I was like, what? She want to do the song in 3 days? Okay, all right, what do I need to do? So I just sent the rest of the files to them so she can do it. I didn't actually go in the studio with her, but the song got done. Had a couple other people to help finish the song, like The Dream helped write on the song. Esther Dean helped write on the song, and Beyonce helped write on the song. Her production partner, Troy Taylor, I think it's. I'm gonna say his name right. I just don't want to say nothing. Don't quote me on it.
Okay.
But the guy that she usually works with, so they helped finish the song off.
Okay.
But it came out beautiful, and it came out as a dance. It went number one on a dance chart,
Yep.
like last month.
Yep.
So I wouldn't particularly say I'll start. I don't. My songs don't make it on dance.
Yep.
Or pop. You know, it's just I don't start at pop. Like I don't start doing a beat saying I don't start doing a beat and say I'm gonna do a pop beat today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a pop track. Because what's a pop track? Popular means pop. So if my song happens to become popular,
yep,
and it's an R&B song,
yep,
so be it. Even if it's a ballad, so be it. If it's an up-tempo R&B song and it's not particularly dance, and it makes it on the pop side and it becomes a dance number one,
yep,
so be it. But I don't start at pop and say, okay, today I'm going to make a pop beat, or I'm going to send a whole bunch of pop beats to them to see what they say.
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
I don't start at pop and say this is pop and nothing else is. No, popular.
yeah.
My song may become popular if it's a great song.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and
Yeah.
then sometimes R&B songs, they just stay over in the R&B lane, hip hop and R&B lane, on that side of the church.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with that also.
Yeah.
You know, but you know that's the industry that we're living in and the times that we're living in, as far as radio is concerned.
Yeah. Okay. You know, who are you currently working with right now?
Oh man, I'm working with I'm having a great time working on Brianna's album. I'm finishing off her album. We had that mixtape that just came out, and it's real heavy in the streets right now.
Yeah.
Extra heavy. Please put this. It's called Face Off. It's a big record.
Okay.
You know, so that's the name of the mixtape, pretty much.
Okay.
It's like a prelude to her album. I'm working on her album, finishing off. I'm doing that whole album pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm working on a new signee at Geffen Interscope named Jay Randall.
Okay.
Jay Randall.
Yeah.
Jay Randall, he's the first signee for Gene Roberson over at Geffen.
Okay.
And, you know, Gene Roberson, that's Kanye's manager and Drake's manager and all of that. Anyway, so he's the first signee. Jay Randall is, I would call him pop, but like I said, it may be pop soul music that the people hear. I'm doing his whole album.
Yeah.
Also, I'm working on finishing SWV's whole album.
Okay.
I worked on Missy's album.
Okay.
Did some writing on that album with Tim producing and, you know, and helped put some songs together on that album for Missy. I'm working on one. It has to be one more than I was. And then finishing off Monica's album.
Okay.
Finishing off Monica's album. Yeah, this year, man, I'm just concentrating on doing whole albums, working on, you know, artists' whole albums, just trying to take over the project,
Yeah.
as opposed to just getting placements, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a producer and writer, I don't want to be 50 years old chasing placements.
Yeah.
You know, chasing placements at that age when you got a whole bunch of, a slew of new guys coming around with their new styles and, you know, young guys that are going to be here for a while coming out and doing great music. I don't want to be chasing placements at 50 years old. I want to be somewhere just, you know, appreciating, signing people, signing artists, and moving over into my company. I have a company called Lambo Music Group.
Yeah.
That I started just last year, late last year.
Mm-hmm.
Lambo Music Group. I will be doing the same music that you hear from, you know, the big artists that are already out.
Yeah.
I'll be developing new talent and new artists, R&B acts, such as Jory is one of my R&B acts.
Okay.
Her name is Jory, Jori. She's a beautiful singer from Atlanta. vocalist, and I have a rap artist. His name is AX. Actually, it's Superstar AX. I did a whole bunch of work with him. He's a young guy. So these I have young artists up and coming. I have a pop artist, what you would call pop. Her name is Shikari.
Yep.
Shikari is the daughter of an ex-NFL football player legend. And I'm just working on my artists and working on, pretty much covering the whole project as opposed to just getting placements this year.
Okay.
So that's how I'm working this year. Every year I set goals, and that's the goal. And the goals get accomplished, thank God, every year.
Yep.
So the goal this year will be to complete whole albums and take over the project or do most of whoever's project,
Yeah. All right, that's all that I had for you. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
Man, you make sure that they know that I'm humbled, and I thank God for these opportunities to reach people with my music.
Yeah.